Okay, there's going to be two types of Jews that are going to be brought to the forefront. The ones will be the Talmudic Jews who have access to magic. They're being taught this. As Jesus says, their wealth will bear witness against them. These will be the richer Jews who have gained their environment by criminal means. They've used magic on people. These are your international kind of banking Jews, and George Soros and all those kinds, Rothschilds. And then you'll get the second lot of Jews, who are the original organic Jews who just followed the Torah. I just don't want these people persecuted, because there's going to be a massive focus on Jews soon, and there's going to be a lot of them killed, and a lot of them are going to go into incognito. As I say, like, kind of God parallels these Torah Jews with Christians, because they took from, the first book, the Torah. The first part of our Bible is the Torah in itself. Like the main God, God only cares about, you pointing to the organic version of God, and like Jesus was for the Gentiles to point us back. God also says about, like, they need the Jesus element for, like, critical thinking. He did point out, to the Pharisees, synagogue of Satan, their downfallings, because they think they're the chosen ones, and I'm talking about those ones who went more the Talmudic route. That they think they're chosen, but they've actually gone down a very demonic mindset. Like they're self-righteous. They don't need God at all. As I say, I'm still trying to work out the link with Jesus and Jews. He's revealing it to me slowly. But that's all I know so far. Like, we're on parallels with the Torah and Christians. Like, we're very similar. We live similarly. We're family orientated. We're not into the Jezebel kind of living. We're very similar. And he also pointed out the fact that these Jews, these ones are always got their mindset in Jerusalem, and they're on British soil. They don't consider themselves British, nor do like they put themselves, like in that chivalric way to save another person's life. Like they only take care of their own. It's a massive insult that Jews know where to go, like in times of trouble, and where to be shielded. They're actually shielded, under Christ's wing, under the tabernacle kind of thing, because they know that they're going to be safe here. But they don't really pay respects to, the land that they sit upon, the accent that they have. Particularly I've been watching ones like in Manchester. They're a bit more sort of traditionally neutral. Not so much with the uniform, but they're still part of, like, the British culture. They should, like, give us more respect, and the fact that Jesus and a lot of blood has been spilt in this country to bring about Christianity, and it's evolved in a pretty cool way, apart from when all the gay stuff and all that rubbish has been adopted. That sin is okay and it's not. But we're in a pretty good position. So just think, and people from Islam, like I witnessed things, like where I've seen white people being beaten up by Islamists in the streets, and like nobody comes forward. Black people don't, like to rescue this person. And black people as well, like their heart are always somewhere else, and they have to rub it in, like, even if they've been all these in Britain all their lives, they always have to, like, make you feel guilty about, why they're not back home, like, or they carry, like their home flag, like as a kind of rub into the British, like, considering that we're always racist, but we're probably the most friendliest multicultural country in the world. Just like think about it, you've been here all your life, you're actually technically British. It's okay to have your tradition and your roots, and obviously God is bringing up the fact that your bloodline is important. If you feel so strongly about your bloodline and your country, you really should go back to that country, you know, like rather than rubbing it in all our faces and making us neutral, you know, like our Christian culture. You know, I think it's time that people woke up that they have been pretty cruel to, you know, the English, as far as that's concerned, always complaining, you know, go home if you don't like the UK. Or just blend in with us, you know. The fact that you have communities that are separate from us is kind of an insult. The fact that, you know, like white people can't walk along, you know, like in those dangerous areas where there's a concentration of like certain ethnicities is wrong. You know, like you're kind of making us guilty when we're not. You know, like shouldn't have no-go areas for white people. This is our own damn country. You know, the English belong here. You know, it's fought on blood. And, you know, if you don't want to be part of that culture, just go home, go somewhere else. Amen.